Okay, today we're going to be installing the underneath lights and the lights that go behind the back on this Stern Pokemon pinball machine. This is good for any Stern machine. It can be Spike 2 or Spike 3. Obviously Pokemon just came out, so this is a Spike 3. First thing we're going to do is come back here and unplug power. That's the most important step, as we do not want to get electrocuted. Okay, next up, we're going to get into our back box. And we're going to take out the translite. Dare do that one-handed. So here, I'm going to show you the method for how we're going to run the wires out of the back box, because what we're going to do is one continuous loop for the two lines. So it's going to come through the back box, going to go down. There'll be a wire connector in the middle so that if you ever have to move your machine later, you can still split it. And then it's going to go all the way down, wrap around the bottom to the front edge. So the way we're going to do that, I designed a clip that goes on the other side of the back box. And we're just going to use one of these holes for the vents on each side. Okay, up next, we're going to take our two bundles of LEDs. One of them is going to have a longer extension cable, and one of them will have a shorter. This one right here is the longer one. So the longer one is going to go on the right side of the machine here. So what we're going to do is grab the end that is unterminated of the cable and go to the back of the machine, and on the bottom row we're going to count over 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the hole we want to use. Now, because all of these won't fit through at the same time, you just push one through, switch to the next one, and until you get all 3 of them through. Okay, now push the cable through until it's all the way at the plastic connector that you'll see. Okay, once you get it pulled through, I took the back of this VHB tape off with some tweezers, but you can see here, it's this is just double-sided VHB tape, and then this cord is going to go through, and you're just going to line it up so that it's straight, and then stick it on there. Okay, now that we have our plastic clip in place, we peeled the back of this first strip off, and we're just going to press this down firmly all the way. Make sure you press in between all the LEDs so it stays on nice. Now here's the first connector. This is what I was saying. If you need to take the unit apart, you can still remove this connector here and it'll still bend in half. So next we're going to take the backing off of this. We're going to make sure we have a little bit of slack in the connector so that it has room to move and plug and unplug. And then if you see down here, there's a short extension cable where we're going to then wrap around and do the underside all the way down. And then we'll just repeat that for the opposite side. Okay, now we have our first section stuck down and our second section stuck down, and we have our connector with a little bit of slack so that we can unplug it. Next we're going to start on the bottom. Okay, so underneath I suggest peeling back a little bit of the tape and actually starting at the front edge, so that way the LEDs go the entire distance. For most machines it ends up being about 2 or 3 inches over from the rail, and just stick it on and go straight back. Okay, as you can see, all stuck on the bottom. We have a little bit of cable at the end, which is designed that way, so there's some relief for it. And that's one side completed. Okay, now that we have both cables routed through the 7th hole on either side, we'll take the cable. It has some pre-crimped ends on it. This is the VH connector, which we obviously couldn't fit through that hole. If you ever have to uninstall these, you can take the pins out and you can take the cables out of these without any issue. So to line these up, if you look at the cable, it's a three-stranded cable, and the ground is marked with those white lines. And the ground is going to go on the left, and then the cables are going to go in order looking at the connector. So if the connector is facing you and you're going to be sticking the pins in, you want to put the one with the dotted line on this side on the left. Okay, so just another look at this cable. As you can see, dotted line on the left in the correct order. Left is ground, middle is signal, and right is power. So those are correctly going into that connector now. Do the same thing on the other connector. Okay, now we've got our two cables. I like to run the right one through these cable loops here. I throw a zip tie on it right here, and then these run, make sure they're behind this metal plate. Got your two cables. This is our control box here. It's going to sit somewhere in this area on top of the power supply. You can also put it over on the other side. It can pretty much fit anywhere that you'd like in the back box, just as long as it's secured. So these cables are going to plug into our control box. And next we will take care of getting power into our external power supply. We do not use the board's power supply because we don't want to mess with any of the power connections that are already being used for the pinball machine. So if you're stopping at just backlights and underlights, that's the end of this video. And you only need these two connectors. Obviously, games like Pokemon already have lighting built into the speakers, but other games like Godzilla and Mandalorian did not come with speaker lights. So we have the option to add those into the control board that already has 4 different outputs. So we'll plug this into outputs 3 and 4. And if you are doing speaker light kits, those will plug into 1 and 2, and we'll follow up with a video on that next. Okay, for the high voltage, a little bit different. First you have to take off the metal cover. It's a little bit different for every model. For this one, there's a screw here, and there was a metal screw on the side of the housing. Again, 100% make sure the machine is unplugged. Once you get into kind of the little rat's nest of wires that they have here from the factory, you're going to find an empty 2-prong plug. It will have an orange connector that looks just like this plugged into it. Our cable is 110 and it's properly keyed for this, so you're going to plug that into here. But the first thing you have to do is combine your grounds. There's a grounding nut. It's difficult to see back there, but there's a grounding nut that has all of the factory grounds on it. Ours is the pink one right there. So basically you just take the nut off, slide those back on with ours, and put the nut back on. Pretty simple. And then you're going to plug this Molex in. Sorry, zoomed in too far here. I'm going to plug this Molex into the factory, and that's going to give us our 110. Okay, once you get your connector plugged in, you'll see it here. It's running to our cord. This will either be a female plug, which is now switched. So when the system turns on, this plug will be live. And this is safe to have back here because it's covered, nothing can get in it. And it's going to be plugged in. So you'll either receive this, or it'll just be a male CPU cord that will go directly into your power brick. I like to tuck the excess down in here a little bit before you put the cover on, and just kind of get it out of the way. And now you're safe to put the metal cover back on. Okay, so I will probably add some type of adhesive tape or adhesive Velcro tape or something for the power supply and for controller module. But for now, the way I've been doing it is I just take this power cable that we created, plug it in, and kind of stick it down this hole for cable management, and then leave the power brick right here in the middle. The barrel connector that goes into the control module, I just have that also tied up here, and the control module is here, And as you can see right now, I just have the 2 LED lights that we ran coming down plugged into that. So now everything is on switched power. So when we turn on our power switch, the power supply light will come on right away. And then our LEDs, as you can see, are already on the back and on the underneath. And then we can configure them to whatever our spec is.